So 5 restaurants, 5 in one city that's adjacent to me, had shut down recently because nobody will work for them.
People are always saying that the average American makes $45,000 a year. Where does the average American work?
Can someone explain to me why is it that the minimum wage is not a livable wage?
Told me they pay $45K. The way I was holding back tears and I am right now.
I genuinely I don't understand what's going on in the country. Everybody needs to tell me what they do for a living because I'm literally flabbergasted. I'm 28 years old. I was in the Air Force for literally 7 years. Half of my 20s I spent in active duty military. I have thousands of hours of experience. I've been working since I was 13 years old. I've worked in hospitals, eating disorder rehabilitations centers, residential centers. I've worked as a barista. I have customer service. I've worked on the telephone lines. I've worked as a florist. I've literally done almost everything. I'm a full-time college student on my GI Bill. Where I live, the average rent is at least $2,800 to $3,000 a month. Just for like literally black mold, horrible like living situations. Like it's just disgusting. Tell me why. Like I'm almost done with my degree and I have so much experience like in the nutrition world and like healthcare, all that stuff. I have my associate's degree in health service management. Every job that is that's open, that's hiring is literally it's like $15 an hour. I genuinely I don't understand what's going on in the country.
If you have a minimum wage job as an adult, what are you doing? That's for teenagers to make a little extra money flipping burgers doing low-skilled work. How many times have you heard that disinformation? It's funny how we judge people that make minimum wage, but not the ones that pay it. Whenever you hear about someone making minimum wage, it's that they're lazy and flip patties. But when you hear about a job paying minimum wage, it's always they're doing their best and they're job creators. But the federal minimum wage is not livable, and when you see people like Trump doing publicity shoots at McDonald's, and when they ask him will he raise the federal minimum wage, he ignored it and changed the subject. But when Kamala was asked about minimum wage, she plans to raise it and eliminate taxes on tips given to workers. It's interesting that this is still a comparison.
Restaurants across Mississippi are shutting down because nobody's working for them. I gotta tell y'all all this gossip. I'm in like 20 Facebook groups across the state and a lot of groups are talking about it. Before y'all get mad that I make a joke out of everything, it is sad, but it's incredibly hilarious. So 5 restaurants, 5 in one city that's adjacent to me, had shut down recently because nobody will work for them. They can't find anybody that will work for them for their pay. It's literally so bad that the management and friends of management that are like trying to pretend it's not management, you know what I mean, are posting in local Facebook groups saying, this restaurant desperately needs workers. I heard from a friend. If anybody's looking for a job, they are desperate. They literally can't open because nobody's working for them. There's no employees. And it's hilarious. I'm not going to out people and post the screenshots, but people are literally commenting, I'll work for you for $16 an hour. Give me $18 an hour and I'll start tomorrow. A lot of these comments back to back to back. Do you want to know the gag? Every single one of these restaurants, and it's more than just these 5, it's in a bunch of surrounding cities. Every single one of these restaurants pay $2.13 an hour. I should clarify, servers are getting paid $2.13 an hour. People were already going through poverty here. Imagine, this is the poorest state in the country, number 50 out of all the states in the country in a lot of ways, right? So when the recession hits, we were already at the bottom. This is the top, this is the bottom. We've been at the bottom for 30 plus years. We went lower. Everybody's fed up here. So these managers and owners who are owning generational wealth building restaurants that are very big names in the South and are like 80 plus years old are willing to let that company die at 80 years old because they want to cry from their BMW and mansion and get a friend to go cry up for them on Facebook saying, nobody will work for us for $2.13 an hour. Boo-hoo. Just small town gossip is so gaggy. I had to come on here with my hair wet and everything because y'all don't even know the half of it, girl.
I was working at Walmart because it was the only job that hired me in this economy. I'm a 38-year-old millennial that's been working since 2004 when I graduated high school. I've had a lot of jobs over the years, you guys. That was not my first and only job. I've been laid off at Bank of America before. I worked at the airport. I've worked for restaurants like California Pizza Kitchen, PF Chains, TGI Fridays, T-Mobile, DirecTV call center. I've even worked for a law firm, and it's always been the same. Underpaid, overworked, to the point of burnout, living in constant fear that you're gonna get fired for what? Just to fulfill someone else's dream, to pay rent for an apartment that I never get to be at only just enough time to sleep and do it all over again.
The job I just interviewed for at the end told me they pay 45K. The way I was holding back tears, and I am right now. Data analyst role located in New York City requires several years of experience. And I know something is better than nothing, don't get me wrong, but the salaries I have been seeing for certain jobs, I am shocked with how low they've gotten.
I'm just lost and confused on why is the pay rate in Texas still so low and they charging an arm and a leg for these apartments. Why are you charging people $1,400 for rent, and then the employment places are only paying $11? Who is going to be able to live somewhere and y'all one bedrooms are $1,400? And that's not including everything at the end of the month. That's just $1,400 flat. We're not including the valet trash. We're not including the water. We're not including light bills. We're not including people who have to pay daycares. They got their own things outside of rent, and y'all only paying $11. And then y'all want people to work their backs into the ground. And then when you apply at these jobs, they want you to learn and know all this stuff for $11. Yeah, no. We gotta do better. At least up the pay to $16.
Can someone explain to me why is it that the minimum wage is not a livable wage? Because I'm not really understanding, and maybe someone can explain it to me because it really doesn't make any sense. Here in the state of Florida, the minimum wage is $12 an hour. And I understand that most people do not get paid minimum wage. A lot of people get paid more than minimum wage. But here's the problem with that. A lot of companies think that they're being generous because they're paying above the minimum wage, when minimum wage is literally like on the floor in hell. Like, you cannot live on minimum wage. If you are getting paid minimum wage, you need government assistance. You are living in poverty. You are making less than $20,000 a year. Not one person can survive on that. You're making less than $20,000 a year working full time. Why is that the minimum wage? I don't understand it. The minimum wage should be set based off of what is the minimum required to live in the city in which you are employed comfortably. Right? It only makes sense. Because how is it that these million and billion dollar corporations are making all of this money? Like, literally the CEO of Walmart just bought this super fucking yacht, and his employees, the people who are stocking his shelves and literally giving their lives to this company, are living in some of the worst neighborhoods and in the worst conditions. They can't even barely afford to feed their families. Like, and they're living on government assistance. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, does anyone else not see this? Does anyone else not care? My job pays me double the minimum wage. But guess what? In my city, I still can't survive on that. That is still not a livable wage. So when are these companies going to actually start paying their employees who are giving their livelihoods, giving their time, a livable wage, of being able to live and survive in the city in which they are employed? That should be the basic requirement. And I know I'm not the only one that feels this way. Of course, there are other jobs. I can go and get another job. I could get another higher paying job. But that's not the point here. The point is that these companies are making millions and billions of dollars, and they're paying their employees pennies. Their employees are unable to survive. In a country like America, anyone that's working a 40-hour job, spending their lives working for a company, they should be able to survive and afford the basic necessities to live. But we don't, and that's the problem. So look, one of two things needs to happen. Either they increase the wages or they lower the rent and the cost of living, because we can't keep doing this. The majority of Americans are struggling right now. People need dual income or even more just to afford rent. Most Americans can't even afford to buy a house right now. Shit is screwed. Like, what are we doing, and why are people not more outraged? Like, we should be taking to the streets and striking. We need to do something.
I'm unemployed. If you follow my page, you'll know that by now I've been on a journey, honey. Left my last job due to my mental health, and now I'm currently in search of a new job. But today a recruiter called me, and I just had to tell her the truth. So a recruiter calls me and tells me that she has a position for me as a patient care coordinator in Alpharetta, Georgia, and it is in person. Now, I already don't want to go into anybody's office, but I told her, ma'am, if you don't live within 5 to 10 to 15 mile radius of where you're going to work in Atlanta, the traffic It's not even worth it. I said, so please tell me the salary matches these requirements along with this location, along with being in person. She said, well, what are you expecting? I said, I don't want to tell you what I'm expecting. I just want to know what the salary is. What is the budget for this position? She said, they're paying $18 an hour. I said, ma'am, respectfully, you need to offer this job to a kid who just graduated from high school or somebody who just retired, and they can couple that $18 an hour with a retirement check. I have 10 plus years of experience. I went to college, busted my behind, coding classes, got an IT degree, specialized in health informatics. I offer people to tell me I'm worth $18 an hour. You can kick rocks. I'd rather be poor and work for myself and figure out my business until I can get it off the ground. There's other things I could be focused on right now than working for somebody for $18 an hour. So respectfully, ma'am, no thank you.
People are always saying that the average American makes $45,000 a year. Where does the average American work? I want to make $45,000 a year. Are you kidding me? The most I have ever made is $30,000 in a year. Where are these people working that they're making $45,000? Like, don't just tell me that they're making $45,000 a year. Where do they work? Is their job hiring? I need more details. Like, where are they getting these numbers from? I don't think I know anybody in my life who is making $45,000 a year. Like, that is insane. I think that's like the average, only because like there's literal billionaires who are making like so much in a year that like regular people, they're like, oh, the average is 45,000. The average person, I would say, probably makes like 30,000, like 35,000. Like, you're not making $45,000 an hour on like a $15 an hour fast food salary. Like, where are the people who are making $45,000 a year? Where are they working? Are they hiring? Tell me that, America!